God, if I can say something stupid here, I will. I feel that they're my San Jose Sharks of the 2010. You know, like such good
the
teams.
Pavelski, Marlowe, Thornton.
Yes, yeah. So whatever you know what I mean. So they're my San Jose Sharks of the past a little bit, where
Go
they're
on a
so
deep
good.
run,
A lot
but
of
never
people
win.
pick them to
Yeah.
win, and then it just seems to fizzle. Like, you know, maybe in the second, third.
Round 2 is upon us. Carolina and the New York Rangers will be the first series kicking things off before round 1 is even over, really. Look, neither of these two teams had a particularly tough path to round 2. Carolina going through the Islanders in 5. The Rangers honestly might as well have gotten a bye against Washington.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Feels like a series that's going to be maybe a lot more competitive than the first round for both of these teams, though. Let's start with Carolina. I think they're an interesting side. Obviously, a team that for years has been a very high-volume possession team. They take a lot of shots. They settle for a lot of low-percentage shots. They play that style of hockey. But I don't want to toot my own horn here. I said Seth Jarvis would be the X factor for them.
Good call.
Dude popped off in round 1. You also got AJ's boy Svechnikov playing very well for Carolina so far. Does this team have the juice? Can they press the Rangers in round 2 here?
Yeah. I mean, the way that they play, the way they control the puck, and the goaltending that they got out of Freddie Anderson, I mean, yeah, they can. They're perfectly capable of it. They're deep and they're talented and they always have the goddamn puck. So to me that feels like a good combination.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, you're right. I think the first opponent was not, you know, whatever. I don't think it was. I think it was closer, right? The first couple games were closer.
Carolina
There was that
definitely
comeback.
got away with some stuff in that series.
That series did not have a 4-1 feel to it.
Yeah.
No.
For sure.
Pulling for my buddy Patty Webb, but I'm not trying to be biased there. But it was a 4-1 series that felt more like a 4-2, 4-3. I mean,
yeah,
they should have lost game 3.
Yeah, with that, and then who knows when you lose that game, you lose money. Who knows? But yeah, I like Carolina. I like Rod Brind'Amour. I had a lot of respect for him as a player back then. This guy worked hard, played hard. Guys seem to love playing for him. It's just a good fit. There was all those rumors last couple days about his contract. I mean, who knows? I mean, how does this come out like after the round one? Just the timing is just horrible. Whoever, I mean, whatever. I'm not judging. They do business a different way there in Carolina, as we know, right? But they seem to want to play for him, and a lot of people get there and then they find their ways there too. You know what I mean? As players, and Brent Burns is not getting any younger, but you know he's still effective. You know he's still fine. He's not the mainstay there on the blue line, but he still does some pretty good things. I don't know. God, if I can say something stupid here, I will. I feel that they're my San Jose Sharks of the 2010. You know, like such good
the
teams.
Pavelski, Marlowe, Thornton.
Yes, yeah. So whatever you know what I mean. So they're my San Jose Sharks of the past a little bit, where
Go
they're
on a
so
deep
good.
run,
A lot
but
of
never
people
win.
pick them to
Yeah.
win, and then it just seems to fizzle. Like, you know, maybe in the second, third round, but. I just feel that if Freddie's not there at some point, I feel he's not going to be there. Then it's a different, it's a different team.
And look, Freddie's a great goalie. You're making me pick. I'm picking Shesterkin every single time.
But that's
between the two of them.
Kind of what I'm saying, yeah. But
Rangers
you might not even pick between Shesterkin and Freddie. You don't
it
even
only
know.
gets worse, is what I'm saying.
That's my
Yeah.
You're
point.
really picking between Shesterkin and Carolina's goalies.
Yeah.
Not even just the one.
If it ends up being Kochetkov or something.
Yeah.
That's kind of, again,
See, he's got a thing with who's going to be the goalie, and my thing has remained the same. When you get into a tight defensive series against a team that can hang with you on any given night,
Yep.
who's going to be the guy that steps up and gets you across the finish line? We saw it at the end of Colorado-Winnipeg.
Yep.
The
was the
Avs,
big
the Avs
dogs,
had gotten
yep.
everything imaginable from the rest of their lineup. They needed that little extra push to put that team away, and they got it from Mikko Rantanen and Nathan McKinnon.
Yep.
Who's going to do that for the Hurricanes?
I don't know.
Sebastian Aho wasn't on that list,
Exactly.
by the way.
And my thing is, I look at the little details of their series against the Islanders that Eric was talking about. You spot the Rangers a 3-goal lead, you're not winning that game.
Nope.
It's not happening. You're not going to get Shesterkin just missing pucks, not finding pucks behind the net, or Sorokin style, not finding pucks in the middle of the zone. You're
Just not finding
You're not
pucks.
going to get the ridiculous bounces off of the glass every series.
Yeah. There were some things that propelled them to that 4-1. I still think they would have won that series.
I
They
think so,
outplayed
too.
them.
But
you never know when a 7-game series is going to turn, and the way that the Isles melted down in a couple of those games, it was like they kind of handed it over to them a little bit.
made it easy for them, for
Yeah,
sure.
and certainly we'll talk about the Rangers here in a second, doing, also getting it handed to them.
Have
But
they even really started their playoffs?
right, in a different manner. With the Hurricanes, you still their big question is still unanswered. For me, is when the chips are down, who's the guy?
It's a great question.
And that's
It is a fair question.
yeah, no, exactly.
Oh, what I wanted to say is, like, I think they're well built, right? When
They are.
goaltending's healthy, and I'm afraid he's a good goalie.
They're quite good.
Their decor. I mean, it's always been a model around the league, right? Their decor over the years. I mean,
And
a
I
lot
think
of
they're
people,
getting Brett Pesce back.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I
Like,
think so.
if it's not like game one, then it's
Yeah.
right there. It's not like it's season ending.
Correct.
So, which he's a big piece of. And then they're forward. Look, I mean, they got big production, like big plays out of Martinook on the fourth line, right? I remember going back to that game.
Yeah,
he's an
he won them
emotional
that
leader.
game,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. He's their Cogliano. He's their, you know what I mean? Like, he's their the guy
Heart
that's
and
been
soul
around,
guy.
heart and soul guy, and he makes it funny and jokes around. And then, like AJ Rudo said, like, Seth Jarvis so impressive. You know what I mean? He's like, again, is another heart and soul guy,
Yeah.
but with more skills than Martinook, obviously. But you're right. And then I love Natchez 88.
Yeah.
You know, I've always loved them.
Yep.
Goo loves them. We've always loved them. And then, but it's like, you're right. Who is on that upper echelon, like, superstars in the league? They don't have that.
Well,
Aho is probably the closest, but
Who's going to chew glass to get you that next play that you need in order to propel you forward in a tight series?
So
Yeah.
let me throw a name at you for my X factor, and my concern here is that he's the opposite of that guy, Evgeny Kuznetsov.
well,
He is definitely not going to chew glass.
That's what I'm saying.
but he'll go slow on the shoot. I mean, whatever it's
In a
called.
penalty shot? Yeah.
reasonably good for Carolina in round one.
Yeah.
Puts up 4 points, does the things you need to do. But you look at a guy who plays that style. You look at a team like the Rangers, and you go, I don't know if I trust this.
Yeah.
It's a big back line for the Rangers that wants to be physical. Kuznetsov's not the kind of guy that likes that game.
He's more a streaky guy. When he gets fire, right, catches
Yeah.
fire, he can. He's done it in Washington, right? He's won a cup. There's that experience there that they don't have a lot of guys in Carolina that have won. I mean, I'd have to look at the roster, but I think it's pretty thin. And I always put a lot of stock in there, But Kuznetsov, yeah, he could be. I mean, who knows? But yeah, I mean, if I was going to bet on it, probably not. You know what I mean?
But I like him as an X factor because
Yeah.
if he
If he
goes
pops off offensively, that could be the difference.
He's
for
hot. He's
Carolina,
hot.
for sure. Meanwhile, on the Rangers side, President's Trophy winners this year, obviously top of the East because of that.
swept Washington in a series, it got tighter as it went on. It never really was close.
Yeah, and here's my problem with this series. I think you guys are right. Carolina probably gets the check mark on defense as a whole. Problem is the Rangers have Adam Fox at the top of that thing. Rangers probably get the check mark in goal. And I don't think Carolina's forward core is bad. I think they have a lot of good dudes. But at the top of the Rangers forward core, you have it Artemi Panarin. You have a Mika Zibanejad.
Yeah.
You back that up with guys like Chris Kreider.
Vincent Trocheck had a
he's
phenomenal
been
year.
great.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's hard for me not to see how the Rangers don't have the edge in this
Also,
series.
Filipino started skating and has been participating a little more. I don't know what the plan is with him, but if he sneaks back into that lineup, Filipino helps. If he doesn't, then they're still really good.
Yep. Not to mention, this playoffs feels like it might really be that arrival of Alexis Lafreniere. I know we've been waiting for years and years and years and years, but he was really good in round one. And I know it's Washington. I get it. But a series like that can give a kid confidence.
And I'll defend him, meaning like we've been waiting for a few years with an S for the regular season for him to kind of be better. And he was better this year.
Yeah. for
Right?
sure.
I mean, you got to give him credit. French or not, but I don't know. But I'm just saying he was good. Like I have to admit he was good, or he was more up to expectations of what people think he was going to be when he was drafted first overall.
Had a really good regular season too.
Yeah.
So,
now
like, he's building towards it.
Now you're building towards the play. I think this is a big test for him. Round 2 is a big test to see, hey, how are you going to be? But I mean, if we're
How's he going to be against a really, really, really good Carolina defense, especially if Brett Pesce comes back?
Pesce, Slavin. I mean, those guys are.
Pesce,
It's not a
Slavin,
picnic.
Burns.
It's not a picnic to play against.
Brady
those guys.
Shea is really good. I mean,
It's not a picnic.
I'm a big Jalen Chatfield guy. I really
This
like
guy
him.
works hard. Yeah, he does.
It's just a really good group.
Yep. Their decor, I feel the same way about the Rangers forward core, to be honest. You just keep going down that list. Maybe not the most beloved on this podcast, but Jack Roslovic, solid for them in round 1, too.
Made a big play there. That's
Yeah.
a big play, that shot.
They just have a lot of guys that I think you feel confident in that forward core. Certainly for myself, maybe a little bit more than Carolina, especially when the
Matt
chips
Rempe.
are down. Yeah, okay, well.
They got everything. I mean, they do.
Yeah.
No, they're great.
I mean, they got everything.
I love the Rangers. They are. I mean, they won the President's Trophy for a reason,
they're a good
but
team.
I,
But
I
top
mean, you
play-
look up and down that lineup, and it's
Well,
just
just
like,
look on the three things. Like goalie, he's top-notch goalie. On D, you just said it, Adam Fox.
Yep.
Yeah, Slavin's a good deal, but I'm saying like the most like Makar, Quinn Hughes.
They have
like
the guy.
That,
at
that's
every
like
position.
there's
They
a
have a
game
top-end guy
changer.
at every
yeah,
level.
Yeah, and
At
then up
every
front,
level.
Panarin only had 3 points, but Panarin's a guy that can play, and he's playing the play. I mean, he can produce 5-on-5, and then they have a horse in like Kreider, right? You know what I mean? Kind of like Val or whatever, if you compare
Yeah.
to Colorado. Oh, there's a big horse, a big body that can just create damage in front of them on the power play, create damage with his speed. So they got some second, like you said, Troch. I mean, the second tier guys. But if you just compare the top end guys, like it's Rangers all the
Rangers are
way.
better.
it is.
You know?
The Rangers have the check across the board, but their depth is no joke. There really isn't a major question mark about their depth. It's good.
Their bottom pair, if I'm really digging, might not be like the best. I'm not saying they're bad.
No.
Bottom pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
That's like the biggest knock I can put on them.
I mean, I'm getting ready to pick Colorado in round 2, and their bottom pair has Jack Johnson on it. You know.
Yep, it's totally fair. X factor here, I kind of took the cop-out answer, but my one concern for New York is you just beat a Washington team. Igor Shesterkin did not have to face a whole lot of craziness. Alex Ovechkin was missing every shot he took in the series.
God, he looked bad.
Carolina is a team that's going to put rubber on him.
Yeah.
If he struggles, New York's going to struggle.
The other part of that, though, is that they're going to shoot at him constantly. So
Keep
he's
him
going to
warm
get
for sure.
He's
Yep.
going to get into rhythm early every single night.
Yep.
And he sees a lot of shots. He gets into rhythm. He starts feeling it. You're
lock
going to
it
want to
down.
stop taking those really low percentage shots from the outside. And you're going to want to start funneling them into the home plate a little bit more.
True.
you
Make
got
that guy work.
But with Shesterkin, you got Benny Allaire that's been a great goalie coach for a long time there. So I'm not downplaying that. But the one thing Benny doesn't have is he's physically never been there. So that aspect of, as a goalie, as you guys know what I always say about goalies, they're so different, and then they always want to cover every box, right? So don't underestimate Jonathan Quick being there for him. I do believe last year he was awesome for Aiden Hill and all the above, even though he never touched the ice. Quickie's been there. Obviously, he's past his prime, but without even touching the ice, I think he can be a weapon in the arsenal of Shesterkin, for just conversations on the plane, in the locker room between periods, before overtime. You know, just you know what I mean, like a guy that's been there in the same shoes and the same boots, which is such a different position. You know.
All right, let's see the predictions. I know we all have this series going pretty deep, so all right, Eric and I going New York side. AJ taking Carolina in 7.
Yeah, so anytime I've ever picked a 7-game series, it's I don't know.
A coin, yeah.
I don't know which team to pick. I have to pick one, but I think they're both really good, and I think we're about to see a banger of a series.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I'm really excited. This is one of the series that when you look at the bracket, that I was most excited to watch.
Yep.
For me, this is the good vibes train that I'm picking. I think the Rangers are better, but I think the Hurricanes
are freer a little bit.
I think there's just something around them right now that
President's Trophy curse. Got it.
And when I watch Carolina, there's something about it. It just feels like this is a team that is determined. They're on a mission.
Sure.
They everything always comes back to the 22 Avs. But
everybody's bought in.
They feel like top to bottom, that is an organization that is locked in, says we're tired. We're tired of these problems. We're tired of these roadblocks. Get them out of the way. We're tearing them all down this year. And I'm buying that stock.
That's fair.
I love the sentiment. I just can't do it. If you get to a Game 7, I can't bet against the Top Guns on New York side.
It's tough to bet against Igor Shesterkin in a Game 7. Igor Shesterkin versus Freddie Anderson.
Yeah.
Or whomever it may be.
The only thing I'll say about the Rangers, too, and then it's more like Chris Drury. I always use that phrase, right? You can be about winning or you can say you're about winning. And I know for a fact he made some hard decisions these past year. And not just personnel on the ice, but personnel off the ice and around the locker room and not popular decisions. And I think you can say what you want about Chris, but Chris is a winner. You know what I mean? Like Chris won here in 01, was around that 4 or 5 year period where, they were reaching the semifinals, and he's been around winners. And I think that's where he's putting a stamp on this Rangers team. You know what I mean? About, hey, this is what I think we need to do to win. When God is coached to believe that he was going to go win with.
Yeah.
And then, they didn't make that many changes, obviously, on the ice. But, I'm saying they've made some unpopular choices off the ice. And I think, that was his way of saying, hey, I'm about winning. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm doing because we're going to win and I want to win. So I think there's a big part of it right there that, the aura's changed a little bit from the last couple of years. You know what I mean? Where they got to take that next step now, as a team.
Perhaps they're all playing for the consolation prize of losing to Florida. Who knows? Tell you who I'm picking in the conference finals if it gets there. That is it for this series preview. We're doing all 4 matchups in round 2. They may or may not be out yet. Go check the playlist for the other ones, and we'll talk to you in the next video.
We all silly like the mayor.